Solomon Nelson recently made a video where he absolutely eviscerated Mike Israetel's PhD dissertation, but I wanted to weigh in as someone who's involved in the academic world, who is a full-time researcher, and respond to an objection that some people have raised in trying to defend Mike. Mike Israetel and his supporters have tried to say that just because it was a draft and the incorrect version of the file that Solomon reviewed, that automatically discounts everything Solomon said about the dissertation. And I want to show why that attempt to try to defend the paper utterly fails. Some background about me: I'm a full-time researcher and really a post-baccalaureate research fellow studying disease-associated proteins full-time. That is my full-time job. My past academic background includes undergraduate degrees in biology, philosophy, and computer science. I have graduate training in biology and philosophy, and I'm currently doing my second master's degree, which is in computer science at the University of Texas at Austin, a top 10 ranked department in computer science in the country. However, even if I had zero academic credentials, I think any rational person can still speak on this debate and this viral video, which got 1 million views in 4 days, which is fantastic and really well deserved, because the central thrust of Solomon's video is not, oh, there are so many different typographical and spelling errors in Mike Israetel's dissertation that it should have been sent back for serious revisions. The idea is not just, oh, there's a bunch of typographical errors, which Solomon did point out. Solomon mentioned at the beginning of the video that even if there are minor errors in a dissertation, they can be overlooked for a truly profound set of insights, or even a singular groundbreaking insight. He mentioned Stephen Hawking's dissertation, which had some minor errors, but really some profound insights that made it easy to overlook those minor errors. The case with Mike Israetel's PhD dissertation is not the same, because even if the incorrect draft was submitted to the East Tennessee State University's archive and website, which is public facing, even if it is the incorrect draft, that does not save Mike Israetel and his dissertation from all the objections raised. And really the central thrust of Solomon's video is that this utterly fails to be a valuable scholarly contribution. What does that mean? It means that it raises no new insights to advance the field in any way. And even if some later draft, which is the final draft that Mike Israetel and his supporters claim, is actually representative of what earned him the PhD, if it's not utterly a different paper than what we saw in Solomon's video, then it totally still fails to meet that criteria of being a scholarly contribution. Because here's why. Even if you fix all the typographical, the spelling, the formatting, the citation errors that are in the draft that we saw Solomon review, the paper would be a grammatically correct but scholarly useless contribution. It's really just a description of previous work with maybe 1% new contributions, in the sense of a small sample size of Division I athletes. That is not a significant contribution. Even smaller research papers, which are submitted not for a whole PhD dissertation, can have way more impact and bring way more insights into the fray. I was reading a paper recently that was talking all about this idea of problem of natural evil, which is this idea that how could a good God allow natural evils like animals killing each other and eating each other from the inside out? And there's just a lot of pain that goes on in the animal world. So it's like, how do you square this with that? And this author raised some really good insights that are genuinely novel in this field. And he did it in a couple of pages, like 12 pages. As opposed to Mike Israetel's PhD dissertation, which has much more space to contribute and potentially make some really new insights. And they don't have to be earth-shattering insights, but they have to be able to advance at least a small aspect of the field. And it utterly fails to do that because it really just shows that strong athletes are more powerful and leaner athletes are more athletic. That is the basis of the contribution, which is really a superficial summary of past work. So again, even if what we saw was a very early draft of the dissertation, the only way that the final draft being different would save Mike Israetel's dissertation is if it was not even at all related to what we saw in the draft. It would have needed to be a completely different dissertation about an actual scientific exercise study. But that would be not even a different draft. Draft is not even the right language to describe that. It would be a totally different paper. But it seems like from Mike Israetel and his supporters who are trying to defend him by saying it was an earlier draft, it seems like maybe the only changes that were made were fixing some of the typographical citations errors, maybe fixing some of the tables so that they didn't imply absurd conclusions like the sample size of athletes ranged from -4 feet to, whatever other height it was.
As with tables 4.6 and 4.7, the standard deviations for the lowest performers are impossible. Here, 1/3 of the lowest performers was either taller than 3.459 meters, taller than any human ever recorded, or shorter than -6.1 centimeters.
Okay, now your statistical tables aren't absurd, but the truth is they're not scholarly, they're not valuable to the scholarly community. And that is the main thrust. So truthfully, even if this was an early draft, that does not save Mike Israetel's PhD dissertation from being a useless contribution to the scholarly world. And that is why there is no way of defending this as an actual dissertation that's worthy of the Doctor of Philosophy title. It is utterly devoid of any research contribution, and even fixing every single typographical, grammatical formatting error would not change that. Fundamentally, it is broken as a piece of scholarship. That's my 2 cents. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching.